In the endless sea of stars, silence ruled. For thousands of years, the Galactic Empire had controlled the galaxy. Worlds obeyed, fleets patrolled, and no one dared to challenge their power. But far beyond the Empire's borders, something old had begun to wake up. It started as a faint signal, weak, broken, almost forgotten. The first message arrived at Outpost Delta 17, a lonely listening station on the edge of the Orion Rift. Technician Mara thought it was a glitch. The signal repeated only one word in an ancient dead language, Earth. At first she laughed. Earth was just a story, a myth told to children, a world destroyed long before the Empire's rise. But the message kept coming. Every 7 hours the signal returned, growing stronger each time. The sound wasn't random. It had rhythm. It felt alive. Commander Lyra Valen was the first to take it seriously. She was calm, intelligent, and known for solving impossible cases. When Mara showed her the data, Lyra's eyes narrowed. "This isn't random noise," she said. "It's deliberate. Someone wants us to hear it." She analyzed the code and discovered an old Terran pattern, something called Morse code. The word Earth wasn't just a message. It was a warning. Days passed. The Empire ignored her report. The High Council called it superstition. "Humans vanished ages ago," one senator said with a smile. "If they were real, they would have come back by now." But Lyra couldn't sleep. Every night she looked at the star map, tracing the origin of the signal. It came from deep inside a dark sector, a place no ship ever returned from. They called it the Black Reach. Then came the second message. This time it wasn't one word. It was a sentence, "Do not come closer." The outpost crew panicked. Mara begged the Empire to send a research ship. Instead, the message was classified. Orders came down. "Do not discuss this further." The transmission logs were deleted. The crew was silenced, but the warnings didn't stop. Within weeks, dozens of Empire stations began receiving the same signal. Different frequencies, same message. "Earth, do not come closer." Lyra felt a strange fear she couldn't explain. Something deep inside told her this wasn't just a threat. It was a promise. She tried contacting other commanders, but they laughed. "Ghost signals," they called them. "You've been out here too long, Lyra." Then Outpost Delta 17 went silent. No distress call. No explosion. It simply vanished. The Empire blamed pirates, but Lyra knew better. She checked the data from the last transmission. It contained one final code. "We warned you." That night she stood by the viewport watching the distant stars flicker like dying candles. The air felt heavy, as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath. The next day she boarded her patrol ship, Eclipse 1, and ordered her crew to set course for the Black Reach, against direct orders. "If the Empire won't listen," she told them, "then we'll find out ourselves." Her crew hesitated. "Commander, that region is cursed." "No one returns." Lyra looked at them calmly. "Then we'll be the first." As the ship entered hyperspace, the crew felt uneasy. The stars outside stretched into streaks of light, and for a brief moment everyone heard something, not through the speakers, but inside their minds. A whisper like a voice carried through the vacuum. "You were warned." The lights flickered. Systems glitched. The navigator gasped. "Commander, we're receiving another transmission." Lyra leaned over the console. The screen showed a symbol, an old blue and white emblem of a planet surrounded by stars. Beneath it, one phrase appeared in human English: "United Nations Space Command." Everyone froze. That organization had vanished thousands of years ago. According to history, humanity destroyed itself long before the Empire existed. So how could their signal be alive now? "Trace the source," Lyra ordered. "It's impossible, ma'am," the technician said. "The signal's bouncing off multiple systems, and it's like it's everywhere and nowhere at once." Lyra's voice grew softer. "Or someone doesn't want us to find them." Suddenly, the ship's radar screamed. 3 massive energy signatures appeared ahead. Unknown design. No Empire record matched their shape. They were cold, silent, and perfectly aligned, as if waiting. "Shields up," Lyra said quietly. "Do not engage." The 3 objects floated closer. They weren't asteroids. They were ships. Huge, dark, and old. Human design, but far more advanced than anything the Empire had ever built. One of them sent a message. Not in alien code. but in clear, calm human voice. To those who ignored our warnings, leave now. This is your only chance. The sound echoed through the ship like thunder. The crew trembled. Lyra could barely breathe. She whispered, "They're alive. Humans are alive." Before she could speak again, the three ships vanished in a flash of blue light. Every system on the Eclipse 1 went offline. When power returned, they were alone again, surrounded by stars with one final message burned into their navigation screen. Earth remembers. Lyra stared at the words, her heart pounding. She didn't know what humanity had become, but she knew one thing for certain. The warnings were real. And the galaxy had just run out of time. The report from Commander Lyra reached the Galactic High Council 2 weeks later, carried by encrypted relay. They read it once, then laughed. The Emperor of the Galactic Dominion leaned back on his crystal throne, his voice smooth and arrogant. "Human ghosts," he said. "Our mighty fleets fear fairy tales now?" Around him, alien nobles chuckled, their jeweled armor glinting under the light of 10 suns. The chamber was full of pride, full of power, and completely blind to fear. "Commander Lyra Valen is known for her imagination," said Grand Admiral Vexar, a four-eyed reptilian officer with scales of gold. "But this is madness. Ancient humans hidden in the void waiting for revenge?" "Preposterous," the Emperor nodded. "Then prove it," he said. "If these Terrans exist, find them. Burn their world. Show the galaxy that the Empire fears nothing." Orders were sent within the hour. 3 fleets, more than 600 warships, were dispatched to the Black Reach. They called it Operation Silence Lyra. Confined to her quarters for disobeying command, watched the news broadcast on her screen. The announcer's voice was cold. 3 fleets to purge the ghost sector. Commander Lyra Valen relieved of duty pending investigation. She clenched her fists. They had ignored everything. The warnings, the vanished outposts, the impossible human ships. They had chosen arrogance over caution. Outside, the stars burned quietly as if waiting. The Empire's Pride Admiral Vexar's flagship, Imperial Wrath, led the armada. He smiled as the ships entered hyperspace. "Let's show these phantom humans what real power looks like." When they arrived, the void welcomed them. Silent, endless, empty. No planets, no signals, just a thick black mist that swallowed light itself. "Scans negative," said a bridge officer. "No heat signatures, no ships, nothing." "Then it's a graveyard," Vexar growled. "Begin sweep." But as the fleet advanced, the mist shifted. It wasn't fog. It was ash, tiny particles of burnt metal and dust drifting like smoke through eternity. A lieutenant gasped. "Sir, readings show this ash contains alloy types not in our database. It's ship metal." Vexar frowned. "Whose ships?" "Unknown, sir. Thousands of them." The comms crackled. A faint sound came through, a whisper of static, then a voice. Calm. Human. "We warned you. Identify source." Vexar barked. "Impossible, Admiral. The signal's inside our own network." All at once, every ship's lights dimmed. Consoles flickered. Engines died. The entire fleet drifted powerless in the void. Then from the dark mist, hundreds of glowing blue dots appeared on radar. They weren't asteroids. They were ships, massive, sleek, and ancient. Each one carried the symbol of Earth. The human fleet. The lead vessel transmitted one clear message. "This is Earth Defense Command." "Stand down!" The alien officers panicked. "They can't be human. That technology, it's centuries ahead of us." Vexar grinned. "Bluff, fire at will." The Imperial Wrath unleashed its main cannon. A beam of plasma brighter than the sun cut through the void and stopped mid-flight. The energy froze, twisted backward, and disintegrated into harmless light. What is that?" the gunnery officer shouted. A calm human voice replied through open comms. "You fired first. This is your lesson." A flash tore across the darkness. Without sound or warning, half the Imperial fleet simply vanished. No explosions, no wreckage, just gone. Sensors screamed. Space itself seemed to warp. The surviving ships spun out of control. One officer shouted, "Gravity field collapse." "We're being pulled." Vexar struggled to keep his balance. On the view screen, the human dreadnought slowly turned toward them. Its hull glowed faintly with blue energy, its weapons silent but terrifying. "Retreat. All ships retreat now," he screamed. No response. Every comm channel went dead. The dreadnought spoke one last time. "You came uninvited. Leave what remains." Go home. The human fleet disappeared again, gone in seconds, leaving behind silence and wreckage drifting through the void. Aftermath of arrogance back on the capital world, the Emperor listened to the fragmented transmissions. Static, screams, then silence. Only 3 ships returned, their crews traumatized, their systems burned. One survivor, trembling, repeated the same words again and again. Blue light. Human ships. Unstoppable. But the Emperor refused to believe it. A trick, he declared. Some rebel technology. Nothing more. Still, he ordered the event erased from all public records. To the galaxy, Operation Silence never happened. Only Commander Lyra knew the truth. She had secretly copied the human message before her arrest. As she watched the encrypted footage in her cell, she saw the image of the Earth symbol glowing on the dreadnought's hull, a single word beneath it. Aegis. She whispered softly. Earth still remembers. That night the power in her prison failed. Cameras went dark. Guards disappeared. The door to her cell slid open by itself. A soft, calm voice echoed from nowhere. Commander Lyra Valen, you believed us. Now it's time you see what lies beyond the stars. A blue light engulfed her cell, and in the next second she was gone. Humanity had returned. And the Empire had only just begun to understand what its arrogance had awoken. The galaxy had gone quiet. After the destruction of Operation Silence, no one spoke the word Earth again. Entire records vanished, officials denied everything, and the Emperor declared the case closed. But in hidden corners of space, fear whispered louder than truth. Ships that passed near the Black Reach simply disappeared. Commander Lyra Valen was gone too, officially listed as missing in transport. Unofficially, she had been taken by the very humans she had tried to warn her empire about. When she opened her eyes, she wasn't in a cell. She was floating inside a transparent sphere surrounded by endless stars. Dozens of massive vessels drifted around her, black as night, lined with blue light veins that pulsed like living hearts. A calm male voice echoed, soft but commanding. Welcome aboard the Aegis Prime, Commander Lyra. She turned, heart racing. The man standing before her wore a black uniform with a silver Earth emblem. His eyes were sharp, human, and ancient in their silence. Who are you? She whispered. Admiral Rice, United Nations Space Command. He smiled faintly, or what remains of it. Lyra stepped closer. You're humans. You were supposed to be extinct. Rice looked out toward the dark stars. We never went extinct. We went silent. The galaxy wasn't ready for us, not after what we saw coming. The truth about Earth. Lyra watched in awe as the ship's hull windows shifted to show Earth, glowing blue and alive. Cities shimmered across the surface, massive defense rings orbiting above. The planet was not dead. It was thriving. When the first alien fleets found Earth, Rice explained, they didn't come to trade. They came to rule. Humanity resisted and paid a heavy price. So we vanished. We built weapons the galaxy couldn't understand. We hid our worlds behind false stars and erased our presence from all records. Why now? Lyra asked quietly. Rice's gaze hardened. Because the Empire forgot mercy. We watched your wars. We saw planets burn, and when you started reaching the Black Reach, you came too close. Lyra felt her pulse quicken. Too close to what? The echo. He turned toward the projection, a vast black storm swirling at the edge of the galaxy. Inside it, lightning flashed blue and white. It was born from your Empire's destruction of human colonies thousands of years ago. The energy of 1 billion deaths frozen in time. It's alive now, a weapon that feeds on arrogance. Lyra's voice trembled. You're saying, my people caused this? Rice nodded slowly. And now it's awake. The echo doesn't care who you are. It erases everything it touches, stars, fleets, civilizations. We contained it once. We can't do it alone again. The Empire's mistake. While Lyra listened in shock, the Galactic Emperor was already making another fatal decision. The Empire had sent new scouts toward the Black Reach, machines this time unmanned and fearless. They recorded only one thing before they vanished, the sound of a heartbeat echoing across space. The Emperor's science ministers called it a radiation anomaly, but to those who heard it, it sounded alive. One frightened senator whispered, "It's saying something." When slowed down, the pulse formed words, Ancient Terran code. Do not wake the echo. The Emperor dismissed it with a snarl. If the humans wish to frighten us with tricks, let them. The Empire bows to no ghosts, and so the Empire prepared a new armada, 10 times larger than before. Their goal, to crush whatever hid in the dark and claim the Black Reach as their own. The awakening back on Aegis Prime, Lyra watched the human fleet awaken. Dreadnoughts emerged from hidden wormholes, cruisers aligned into perfect formation. Their weapons didn't glow. They hummed, deep and low, like thunder waiting to strike. Rice stood at the command bridge. They never listen. Every age thinks it can control power. Every empire forgets what came before. He turned to Lyra. You saw what happened to your fleets. Will they stop? Lyra's eyes burned with tears. No, they'll come again. They always do. Rice gave a slow nod. Then humanity will answer again. A sensor officer shouted, Admiral! The Empire's new fleet is entering the sector. They've brought planetary destroyers. Rice closed his eyes. Then it begins. The void outside shuddered. Blue lightning crackled through the mist. The echo was waking. Its pulse grew louder. Boom, 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 shaking entire systems. Lyra grabbed the railing. What's happening? Rice whispered. The void remembers their arrogance. It remembers our pain. Suddenly, from the heart of the black storm, a colossal shadow emerged. Something larger than any ship. Larger than a moon. It wasn't built. It was grown. It carried the symbol of Earth shining like fire. Lyra gasped. What is that? Rice smiled sadly. The first human guardian. The Eidolon, born from war, reborn from silence. The creature ship opened its wings of light and every Empire vessel within range lost power. Their weapons died. Their engines froze. On every frequency a single voice spoke. Deep, calm, unmistakably human. This is Earth. We warned you. The stars are not yours to burn. When the void spoke, the Empire's fleet turned in panic. Some tried to flee. Others fired wildly into the void. Nothing mattered. The space around them rippled and their attacks dissolved like dust in water. One by one, the alien ships went dark. Only static filled the channels. Then silence. Race stood at the command deck, eyes fixed on the collapsing horizon. The void spoke once before, he said quietly. No one listened. Maybe this time they will. Lyra turned to him. And if they don't? He looked at her with the calmness of someone who had already seen the end. Then Earth will remind them again. Until the stars learn fear. Outside, the storm swallowed the Empire's fleet whole. The echo fell silent once more. But somewhere deep in that darkness, something vast opened its eyes, and the voice of humanity whispered across the stars. The judgment has begun. Silence ruled the galaxy once again. After the Empire's mighty armada vanished inside the Black Reach, no one dared to speak of it. Systems went dark. Communications collapsed. Entire sectors whispered of ghosts and blue light that ate whole stars. Yet in the center of the Empire's capital, the Emperor still refused to believe. He sat upon his throne, surrounded by trembling advisors as one broken ship limped into orbit. The Imperial Dawn, the only survivor. The ship's hull was melted and twisted. Its crew was gone. Only one life sign remained. When rescuers opened the airlock, a single officer fell to his knees. His eyes were hollow, his voice dry and empty. They spoke, he whispered. Who? Asked the guard. The humans, the man breathed. They didn't fight us. They judged us. The broadcast moments later, every screen across the Empire flickered to life. A single transmission forced its way through every defense network, every security wall, every planet's comm grid. It was not an attack. It was a message. A human figure appeared, calm, composed, surrounded by the faint glow of blue light. His face was neither angry nor cruel. It was sad. This message, he said, is for all who live under the shadow of the Galactic Empire. His voice echoed across systems, clear and heavy with meaning. For centuries we watched your rise. We saw you enslave worlds, burn skies, erase species that could not kneel. We warned you. Again and again. You laughed. You silenced those who tried to stop you. But the galaxy is not your throne. It is our shared home. Every planet froze. Billions watched in silence. The image shifted, showing ancient footage, human cities burning under alien bombardments, fleets falling into the oceans of old Earth. Then, new images, rebuilt cities, shining towers, and vast rings around the planet, living proof that humanity had survived. We hid, the voice continued, not out of fear, but to learn, to build, to become more than what destroyed us. And when we were ready, we came back, not for revenge, but to restore balance. The Empire trembles, the Emperor stood, shouting, "Cut the signal!" But no one moved. The transmission had infected every channel. Their own computers refused his command. The human message went on. "Your fleets fired first. You saw peace as weakness. So we answered as we always do, with strength. But strength without mercy means nothing. We do not seek your end. We seek your understanding." A faint sound began to spread behind the voice on a deep rhythmic pulse like a heartbeat. The same pulse that had haunted the Black Reach. Across the galaxy, stars began to flicker. In orbit around each major system, shimmering shapes appeared. Not weapons, but satellites, each bearing Earth's emblem. They didn't attack. They watched. "Do not mistake silence for surrender," the voice said. "We have seen your cruelty. We have measured your greed. The next choice is yours, rebuild or vanish." The message ended. The screens went black. The galaxy held its breath. Lyra's awakening far away, aboard Aegis Prime. Commander Lyra stood beside Admiral Rice, watching the last signal fade. She felt cold inside. "They will never listen," she whispered. Rice looked at her, calm and steady. "Some will, some must. One voice can change an empire, even yours." He handed her a small data sphere. It shimmered like a blue flame. "What is this?" she asked. "The original message," Rice said. "Everything we've seen. Everything they've done. Take it home. Tell them what Earth really stands for." Lyra stared at him in shock. "You're letting me go?" Rice nodded. "You came searching for truth. Now you've found it. We don't destroy the innocent, Commander. We wake them." The sphere pulsed gently in her hand. It carried the full record. The fleets lost to arrogance, the humans who survived in silence, the echo waiting in the void. Lyra swallowed hard. "If I go back, they'll execute me," Rice smiled faintly. "Or they'll finally listen." The return the next day, a lone shuttle appeared near Imperial space. It carried no weapons, no crew, only Commander Lyra and the data sphere. Imperial ships surrounded her instantly. "Unidentified craft, state your allegiance." Lyra's voice echoed through comms. "I bring the message of Earth. She was brought before the Emperor." He sneered. "You dare come back? After betraying your kind?" Lyra looked straight at him. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, the mark of the human technology she had seen. "I didn't betray anyone," she said quietly. "But you betrayed the galaxy." She placed the data sphere on the floor. It activated, projecting the full message of Earth through the Imperial Palace. The senators gasped. The images of burned worlds, silenced species, and the judgment of humanity filled the chamber. The Emperor stepped back as the voice of Admiral Rice spoke again. "You cannot rule what you do not respect." Lightning crackled through the palace windows. The Empire's communication towers failed one by one, and in the distant sky thousands of blue lights appeared, human ships, silent and watching. The message echoes. Lyra knelt before the throne. "You can end this, Your Majesty. Choose peace." The Emperor trembled. His pride wavered, but his fear was greater. He whispered, "If we surrender, what becomes of us?" Lyra rose slowly. "Then you finally live free." Outside, the human fleet shimmered, and one final message echoed through every star system. "This is Earth. We do not conquer. We remember. We rebuild. The galaxy has one last chance to stand with us, or be forgotten." The message ended, and the lights faded into silence. But the echo of those words, "we remember," spread across every world, every heart, every sky. Humanity had spoken not with fire, but with truth. And the galaxy finally listened. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy stood still. No fleets moved, no wars burned, and no one dared to speak above a whisper. Every star system was waiting for Earth's answer. The Emperor sat alone in his vast throne room, eyes fixed on the night sky beyond the palace dome. Outside, hundreds of glowing blue dots drifted silently. Human ships. They did not fire. They did not advance. They simply watched. It was a warning made of patience. A silence louder than war. He clenched his fists. How could they return after all this time? How could humans, once broken and forgotten, now stand above the Empire itself? He whispered to himself, we ruled the stars. They were supposed to be gone. The last defiance across the galaxy. Not every commander accepted peace. Some still clung to pride. One by one, rogue admirals broke the Emperor's ceasefire. They launched their fleets toward Earth's silent armada. Desperate, furious, blind. The first attack began near the Cassian Belt. Thousands of alien warships charged forward, plasma cannons burning bright. The space around them glowed red, but their fire never reached its target. The human fleet did not move. Instead, the stars behind them shifted. Entire constellations twisted like mirrors, reflections of massive ships uncloaking at once. There weren't hundreds. There were thousands, and they were not ordinary ships. They looked alive, part metal, part energy, with hulls that rippled like water and hearts that pulsed with blue light. From the command ship Aegis Prime, Admiral Rice gave only one order. No more warnings. A wave of light swept across the battlefield. In a single instant, every hostile weapon froze mid-fire, every reactor powered down, and every ship's engine shut off. The Empire's greatest war machines became silent statues drifting helplessly through the void. No explosions, no blood, no screams, just silence, and the kind that comes before judgment. The Emperor's fall on the capital world. Commander Lyra Valen stood beside the Emperor as the final report arrived. Your Majesty, the messenger stammered, our fleets, they've all gone dark. Every system, every world. The Emperor's face turned pale. What are they doing now? The messenger swallowed hard. Nothing, sir. They're just waiting. The ground shook as a shadow passed over the palace. Through the glass ceiling, Lyra looked up and saw it. A ship so large it blocked the stars. It wasn't a dreadnought. It was a city, a moving world of metal and light. Its surface shimmered with thousands of human symbols, names of cities, battles, and fallen heroes. At its center, a beam of white light struck the palace courtyard. A holographic figure emerged. Admiral Rice, calm and distant, his eyes like the void itself. Emperor Kareth, he said quietly. This is the moment history will remember you for. You can stand with the future, or be buried by the past. The Emperor trembled. You think you can rule us? Rice shook his head. We don't rule. We remember. We rebuild what you destroyed. You called yourselves gods, but gods don't burn children's worlds. The Emperor shouted, we were bringing order. Rice's expression darkened. You brought extinction. The light flared. Every Imperial broadcast channel turned on, showing the Emperor's final moment to every citizen across the stars. And for the first time he bowed, not in surrender to power but to truth. Earth's judgment, after the Emperor's fall, humanity did not take the throne. They dismantled it. The great banners of the Empire were lowered one by one across 1,000 worlds. Human fleets descended, not with weapons, but with builders, healers, and diplomats. Cities once crushed by war began to rise again. Food flowed to starving colonies. Slaves were freed. Entire species saw hope for the first time. Everywhere the same message appeared on the rebuilt satellites. This is Earth. We remember. We rebuild. We protect. The galaxy watched as human soldiers worked beside aliens, restoring what had been broken. There were no demands. No new empire. Only peace enforced by unspoken power. The echoes returned, but deep in the black of the Reach something still stirred. Lyra stood aboard Aegis Prime, watching the sensors flicker. The echo, that terrible storm of death energy, had not vanished. It was feeding, waiting. Rice stood beside her, his hands behind his back. It will never be gone, he said softly. It was born from pain, from fear, from arrogance. The only way to end it is to remember why it began. Lyra turned to him. Then what happens now? Rice looked out at the stars. Now we teach them what we learned, that survival means more than dominance. He placed his hand on the console, sending one final transmission across every corner of the galaxy. The final message, a calm voice, filled the stars. The same one that once warned, once fought, and now spoke like a father to his children. To every being who calls this galaxy home, we are not your rulers. We are your reminder. We came from a small blue world born of struggle and hope. You thought we were gone, but humanity never dies. It learns, it waits, and when the time comes, it answers. As the message faded, the human fleets turned toward the void and disappeared into light, leaving behind peace and awe. Lyra watched them vanish, whispering softly, "Earth answered, and the galaxy will never forget." Epilogue: centuries later, children across 1,000 worlds would look up at the night sky and see a blue star glowing faintly in the distance. Some called it legend, others called it home. But the wise knew its name: Earth. The world that warned, the world that vanished, and the world that finally answered back.